Morning.
Good. How are you?
Good. What do we got?
What are your thoughts overall just on your defensive performance with this team after looking at the film?
In the SC game?
Yeah.
I thought they did a nice job. Obviously, you're challenged a little bit with the scheme that they have because they spread you out. But I thought our defense overall did a good job of, you got some explosive players. Gary Bryant Jr. is a really good player. Taj Washington. But I thought overall our defense, we put them in a couple precarious situations early, but I thought they responded. The Q Lake interception, I think, was a really big deal for us in that game, kind of stemming the tide and getting us back on track offensively. But I was pleased with them.
How have you seen Otito grow as a leader in the 4 years that you, or almost 4 full years that you've had?
Yeah, just a great young man. Obviously, a really good student. Graduated early with an undergrad degrees and already enrolled in grad school. But as he just, that maturation process, came here as a football track guy. And was excelled at track. I think he went to the Junior Pan Am games and really did well down there. I think he's an All-American as a freshman in the shot putter. So he's doing a lot of different things. But now that I think he's 100% football, he's really invested, and I think his leadership skills, I think the players really understand, because part of leading is first is just leading by example. And they see the job not only that he does in the weight room on the practice field, but in the classroom. Everything. He's everything you want in a student athlete. So. He's not an overly vociferous kid, but when he talks, everybody listens because they know he's got something. He's a guy of substance, and when he says something, it means something. So he's done a really nice job, and you can tell how much our players gravitate to him because he does things the right way all the time.
How would you describe kind of his work ethic on the field in terms of honing his craft and his technique?
Yeah, he's really dialed into that. He wants to be great. He wants to be great in everything he does. He wants to be great in the classroom. He wants to be great on the football field. He wants to be great in the kitchen. He's a heck of a cook, from what everybody talks about. So I think he just takes everything really seriously and really wants to perfect it. So it shows. And you watch his work ethic and his attention to detail, especially out here in practice sessions. It rubs off, and he's really grown into that leadership role.
Have you eaten anything he's made?
He has some. He usually brings in snacks for the trainers. He's smart because the guys who take care of him the most, he took care of our training pretty good. So I've had some of his desserts, but I've not had a sit-down meal for really too.
On the topic of food, is the team planning on getting together and having a Thanksgiving
Yeah, well, one of
dinner?
the things that's unique about this place, because everybody's local, most of our kids will go home. Some of them will take some of their teammates with them. So we're just trying to get a number right now of who we're going to have a team meal with. But it's important for our kids. We usually will practice earlier on Thursday. And then let our kids, especially the local kids, get a chance to go home and spend Thanksgiving with their family. And a lot of them bring their teammates home with them. But from who's ever still around on campus, we'll have a meal for those guys.
You guys obviously had a game plan defensively to get at the quarterback, get in the backfield. But did you figure that? Did you expect to be as successful as you were? I think you had 10 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks.
I mean, you don't know how any game's going to plan out going into it. Like, you don't go into a game saying, I think we got 10 sacks in us. It really depends on how the game expresses itself as the course of time. But, we knew it was a young quarterback and a very talented quarterback. But we had to disrupt the timing. We had to disrupt the timing of that offense. That's the one thing about playing the air raid offense is if you can disrupt the time and get the quarterback off his launch point, disrupt the receivers a little bit, make the quarterback hold the ball a little bit longer so then the rush can get home. And I think our guys accomplished that. That's what our plan was going in. The exact numbers that it turned out to be, we don't predict that part of it, but we knew really we had to affect the timing of that offense, and I thought we did.
You're closing in, you're getting close to the end of year 4 of a 5-year contract. Your agent working on an extension for you?
Yeah, my agent handles everything, so I don't worry about it. My day-to-day is getting ready for Cal. We always talk about mental toughness is the ability to move on to the next most important thing, and the next most important thing for us is playing Cal. A good Cal team that played really well against Stanford, so that's all of our attention is on. That other stuff, that's the reason you have an agent, so I let him worry about all that stuff. So.
Do you want an extension?
Yeah, I love coaching him.
Any update on Britton Brown? You think he'll practice
Britton
today?
will practice this week. We'll see how he is. He was close on Saturday, but we're not going to put him in a harmful situation, so we'll see how he progresses. I know he really wants to play. He really wanted to play on Saturday, but we'll see how that goes. But I wouldn't put anything past Britt. He's a very, very tough individual. So.
Talking about the defense being disruptive and getting tackles for loss and everything, Michikude seemed like he was really disruptive, probably most disruptive he's been a couple of weeks at least. What do you think of his performance?
Yeah, I thought, a couple guys, Mitch and Otito up front and Bo, really we thought played their best games maybe to date this season. And then in the back end, Q Lake and Jay Shaw, and I thought Cam Johnson played really, really well on the back end for us. So I think it was a combination. Again, when you play team defense, it's, if we're close to our receivers and really good in coverage and can disrupt the timing of their routes, then sometimes that lets the rush get home in time. And then other times the rush gets home a little bit before, so it helps the back end in terms of coverage. But I thought Mitch did a really nice job of disrupting things up front. Obviously, I think the numbers showed, in terms of what his numbers turned out in that game. But he's another guy that I still think is continuing to improve. We had a shortened COVID year, which was his first year here, and then this season. So I think each week he gets a little bit better and a little bit better. So I'm excited about the trajectory he's headed on.
Zach Charbonnet went over 1,000 yards for this season. Can you just talk about the way he's kind of progressed throughout the season, and especially kind of having the impact he's had in his first season with the Bruins?
At first it starts with his work ethic. It's he's an amazingly consistent human being in terms of his approach every single day. We've only seen one, and it's full speed ahead. He's extremely coachable. You never really you don't have to correct him more than once, and he gets it, and then never makes the same mistake twice. But he gets stronger as games go along. I think he's stronger now at this point in time during the season than at any point in time. But it goes back to his work ethic. His work ethic is just kind of off the charts, and he's getting out of it exactly what he puts into it, and what he's putting into it is a ton. And we're starting to see that production. We've seen it, but with him, we've seen it all year long. There's just been a consistent approach with him, and it's really fun to coach guys like that.
You've got a few players who were nominated for Pac-12 honors this week, and the votes and the results will come out later today. But Kaz was nominated for special teams player, but obviously he played a bigger role than just special teams. Talk about his performance Saturday.
Yeah, obviously as he continues to develop, he's a threat. He's fifth in the country now in kickoff returns, and obviously was a deep threat for us on Saturday. We felt like we had a couple things conceptually that we could get over the top on them, and he did, and got home with it. But he practiced a lot at running back last week because with Britt being down, our depth behind Zach was going to be tested a little bit, and so he got a lot more reps actually at running back last week than he did at receiver. For him to come out and do that, it was just, we had a couple play calls that we had in. We felt like if we had him isolated in the slot, once we beat him, beat him over the top on the first touchdown, and then the other time we were in a bunch of formation, and he did a real good job running a spray post over the top of everybody and outrunning everybody. But he's such a weapon with everything he does. And he's another guy that continues to grow, and every week gets better and better and better. So it's really happy for him because of what he's put in. And when he's starting to see it, show up with that performance on Saturday, 3 touchdowns, over 200 all-purpose yards, pretty impressive.
Got any plans for the UCLA Gonzaga game tomorrow night?
I didn't even know they were playing tomorrow night, to be honest.
The Final Four rematch in Vegas on Tuesday. Not gonna have a team watch party or anything?
That's the first I even knew about it. We're in a submarine, my friend. So we're getting ready for Cal, and if Mick's playing, I'll text him. I think do they play tonight too?
Yeah.
Who are they playing tonight? Bellarmine? And then Gonzaga?
Yeah, back to back.
Back to back. That's not home, right?
No, they're both in Vegas.
Okay. All right, I'll have to hit Mick up. I'll text him. We were texting after the game on Saturday, so I'll hit Mick up, see where he is. But we haven't made any plans for any watch parties or anything like that. So okay. I watched the last Gonzaga game in person, so I don't think I'll be able to get to this one. So.
He was texting you after the USC win?
Yeah, almost all of our coaches were. So yeah, I think when you beat the team across town, everybody kind of gets excited about that. So to hear from him and Adam Wright and John Savage and Corey Close, and the coaches here are pretty close, and whenever any of our teams play their team, that's a big deal for the coaches here. So they were all as pleased as I am when they get an opportunity to play those guys and beat them. So.
Has the bell changed hands? Is it in your possession now?
I don't even.
We have the bell.
Do you have a bell? I don't know where the bell is.
Yeah, painting it today.
I'm absent on that one. I don't know where it is. We don't get to see it as much as everybody else. So.
Are you gonna get to see it get painted? You gonna show up for that?
I don't even know. Where do they paint it?
We're doing it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
during the basketball game?
No, we're gonna just play.
Because I'm gonna be
I'll make
at
sure
the
everyone
Gonzaga
here gets
watch
a video
party.
of it.
What's that?
I'll make sure everyone here gets a video.
We'll get the video of it. We got some work to do. We have Cal, so our focus is 100% on playing Cal. And if you want to know anything about Cal, just watch what they did in the Stanford game. And it was impressive, especially for what Justin's group's been through. They had the game the week before suspended against or postponed against USC because of the COVID outbreak on their team, and they hadn't practiced well. But to come out, it was a really impressive performance. It was 600 plus yards offense and like 350 rushing. So that's got our sole focus and attention right now. So that's really what our mindset's been on since the game on Saturday. So.
All right, thanks, Chris.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.